Alright, so boom. Next video. Superman gets a power upgrade. Like I literally just said right before I clicked the record button, how the hell do you give Superman a power upgrade? It's Superman. Like, come on. Talk to me.
What's up, my comic comrades? Recently, DC revealed some huge changes for the Man of Steel with Action Comics issue 1050. More specifically, Superman was given a significant power upgrade, and this power boost was teased and hinted at in the series over the past few months. And now, it is finally
God damn, Aaron, I'm not gonna lie, you have got to get them
power upgrade, and this power boost was teased and
Jesus. No disrespect to you, but bro, like, come on, hit up your dentist. Like, what are those called? It's called a snaggletooth, right?
hinted at in the series over the past few months.
Speaking
and
of
now,
the dentist, I really need to set in an appointment with mine.
it's finally happened. It's pretty dope too, so let's jump in and see what his new power upgrade is and how it was revealed to us.
Now, what's this new power, though?
The issue starts off with Lex Luthor having trapped Manchester Black. We learn that Lex is using Manchester for his hypnotic control, at which point Manchester asks, "Would you like to know what Superman thinks of you? What he says about you in his darkest moments? Nothing." Which pisses Lex off.
Says you're a bald bitch with a trust fund. You never really earned anything that you really got in your entire life. You really just want to be me. You mad that you ain't Superman. You bald-headed fit. All right.
Off being the egotist.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You look like Hitman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you were broken and, like, you were trained in, like, like, what's the word? Like, assassins and stuff like that. Like, you know, like, you would basically be a knockoff Hitman. All right.
Man that he is. This causes Lex to drain all of his power, killing Manchester in the process. As we see Manchester says about you in his darkest moments, nothing. Which pisses Lex off being the egotistical man that he is. This causes Lex to drain all of his power, killing Manchester in the process. As we see Manchester's energy siphon through one of Lex Luthor's devices through a building, engulfing the entire world. We are then taken to India where Superman and John stop a dam from exploding, after which they return to Smallville to have dinner with their family and their close friend, Perry White. Superman then goes to hug Perry saying, "It's good to see you, Mr. White. Thank you for coming so far." Perry says,
I feel like I'm moving around like an NPC, like, you know, in the NPCs, like, you know, when they just don't stand still, they just go like this.
"Superman, I don't know what you're doing here," as he starts to feel sick and pass out. Superman then obviously rushes him to the hospital. Clark then tells Lois, "I scanned Perry with my X-ray vision. It appears he had a minor stroke, but they don't know what caused it." Clark then tells Lois, "Somehow the very idea that I was Superman almost killed him." Clark then gets a call via a secret signal, at which point he rushes to said signal only to find out it's Lex Luthor who made a watch to mimic the one Superman gave Jimmy Olsen, but with some upgrades.
This comic art is fucking horrible. I'm not gonna hold you.
As the two start to talk, we learn that Lex called Superman there to let him know that even though he hates to admit it, the world needs Superman. And that's been proven twice recently during Superman's extended absence on Warworld with Mongol, and then during the Multiverse Mayhem with Pariah. But come on, this is Lex. Obviously, it's not that cut and dry. He then proceeds to say, "But if the world needs Superman, then I will give them the best version possible." Lex then reveals a Superman armor that he made. He then continues to say, "With my mind and resources, just imagine what we could accomplish. I've spent years studying you, and I believe that I could fix you. But to do that, there must be sacrifices. The world needs to believe that you are a god, that you are above them, not one of them. The world cannot know you are Clark Kent." At this point, Superman asks, "What did you do, Luthor?" Lex reveals, "While you were gone, I gathered technology from Warworld and Henry Bendix's little superhuman experiment combined with Manchester Black's powers. He just needed a bit of a push to see his full potential, just like you do." As he reveals to Superman that he used technology and Manchester Black's powers to make everyone on Earth forget that Clark Kent is Superman. And he's revealing this to Superman as he suits up in one of his mech suits. This obviously leads to a fight between the two, but
not gonna hold you, I kind of fuck with that design of this mech
Superman,
I mean, what's wrong with that if everybody just forgot who Clark Kent was?
being Superman, doesn't want anyone to get hurt. So during the fight, he literally punches Lex into space. He then flies up to Lex, grabs his suit saying, "You've done enough damage today, Lex. We'll continue this conversation someplace safe," as he throws him to the moon. "I'm done with you hurting the people I love and the people of this world." But Lex just retaliates with an enhanced ball and chain from his armor, going off on a long spiel how he's pissed that Clark told the world his identity before he told him during their youth in Smallville. As they continue to fight on the moon and in space, Lex...
So nigga is just mad about that because he wasn't the first person that freaking Superman you see, this is what I'm saying, bro. You just a mad little bitch. You like, at the end of the day, like, bro, you really have a Joker kind of mindset. Like, you just want Superman to yourself type shit. Bro, Superman not gonna fuck you. I'm just letting you know. He ain't gonna fuck you. He got a bad bitch, like, you feel me, Lois Lane walking around. He don't want you, bro.
Lex reveals that he killed Manchester Black in the process of using his hypnotic power to make everyone forget that Clark Kent is Superman. Needless to say, this enrages Supes. Lex understandably starts panicking as Superman starts getting much more aggressive now, at which point he uses technology he has embedded in his suit to teleport Superman far away, saying, "Safe journey, Clark." But on the next page, a portal opens up with a voice saying, "You don't get it, Luthor," followed by red energy or lightning hitting Lex. The voice continues to say, "I'm not like I was," as Superman emerges from the portal that he apparently created. Which of course is where we start getting Soup's freshly revealed powers, and it has to do with time. And speaking of time, somehow it's already 20.
Alright, fuck your ad. Just letting you know, get your money, I support it, but fuck
20% off before January ends. You know, just put it on your calendar. See what I did there? Now let's pick things up where we left off in Action.
So this nigga could create portals? Like what? He's warping time now?
Comics
like,
1050, with Superman
OP,
about to reveal
bro.
his new power upgrade. As Supes returns to the moon from wherever Lex tried to send him, Luthor yells, "What are you doing? How are you?" But Superman interrupts him saying, "My mind and body are stronger than they've ever been. Concepts like weight, distance, temperature, even space-time have largely lost their meaning for me. In moments I can cross the distances that cease to be distance, and I don't need your little metal suits or guns to do it," as he touches Lex and his suit just completely falls apart, only leaving Lex's oxygen supply. Luthor then says, "Don't kill me." Superman, still grabbing him by the collar, responds, "Of course you would think that. You're going to prison for murder. The next time you think you have the power to threaten my family or kill my friends with impunity, think again." So this is all sorts of nuts, guys. Superman can now create portals that transcend space-time. I mean, let's just recap what he told Luthor. First of all, he says, "My mind and body are stronger than they've ever been." That's right. That right there is a statement, because he's saying he's stronger than he's ever been. Stronger than we've ever seen him in comics, at least in the main continuity version of Superman. Which is still insane, because this is the Superman that has held a black hole in his hand, that has bench pressed the Earth for several days straight, that has literally pulled entire solar systems. And he's saying out of his own mouth, he's stronger than he's ever been. Stronger than that. Essentially saying he has no limits. Whether you're talking about weight, temperature, space, freaking time, nothing can stop this dude anymore. And then with whatever new power or powers he has, he just laid a hand on Lex's armor and it shattered. So can Superman now create and destroy things with just his mind or a single touch? Definitely a touch, because we just saw that in this book, but we don't know the extent of his powers just yet. I cannot wait to see how far DC goes with this and the feats Superman will display in the future. I say it all the time, whether you love or hate Superman, he's the guy. He's the OG superhero. Without him, DC and Marvel wouldn't be what they are today. Because again, Superman is the standard, and it looks like DC is out to prove that he's just that once again. Now, after Superman sends Lex to prison, we see in Gotham Superman meet up with Batman and Nightwing.
And another crazy thing is that is a Superman that we will never see in on a movie screen.
Explains to Superman it was a planet-wide telepathic attack, a suggestion that wormed its way into every mind on Earth. The Justice League, Reservists, and the Titans all have psychic defenses set up by Martian Manhunter. Nightwing then says your parents, John and Lois, were protected by the shield we established around the farm. Batman then follows up by saying, but everyone else on the planet no longer recognizes the identities of the Supermen. Superman says there are photos that show who John and I are. There are articles. There's video. Batman tells him it's not just that people forgotten who you are, the suggestion is so strong that it extends to any image or any media people see. If it contradicts what their mind is telling them, they reject it. Superman asks, why, Bruce? Of all the things Lex could do with this power, why do this? Bruce responds, simple. Lex doesn't like the world seeing you and John as human. Bruce goes on to say, but Clark, is this really such a bad thing? As he continues to talk, Clark realizes there's a big positive to the world not knowing that Superman is Clark Kent once again. We then get a page of Lex in prison on Stryker's Island where it says, to be continued in Superman 1. We are then taken elsewhere in the universe where a version of Kal-El has been killed with Calvin Ellis Superman saying, we need John Kent, saying to be continued in the adventures of Superman, John Kent. But there you have it, guys. Action Comics 1050. They are setting up a lot of new stories for the Superman characters and just gave Big Blue himself a massive power upgrade, which I have to imagine we'll continue to see in more issues to come. But what do you guys think of Superman's new power upgrade being stronger than ever?
Yeah. You know, I think we...
What's up, my comic comrades? It's no secret that Superman is easily one of the strongest superheroes in all of comic books. In fact, many of us, including myself, think think he is the strongest superhero in all of comic books. But with writers and creators constantly trying to outdo each other by creating the next big thing, we have seen a never-ending supply of new and powerful characters in comics over the years. And Quantum Superman is a prime example of just that. Now, a lot of you may be like, Quantum Superman, when the heck did this become a thing? Is he a brand new character? But no, Quantum Superman has existed for over a decade, first appearing in Final Crisis Superman Beyond issue 1 in October of 2008. He was created by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. Quantum Superman falls in line with those characters that are cool, interesting, and incredibly powerful, but you rarely ever hear about them or see them in a storyline. In fact, he's only ever had a handful of appearances over the years. Right off the bat, just by looking at him, you're super intrigued. Sure, the name Quantum Superman alone is intriguing, but looking at him for the first time, most people are like, wait, so is this a Dr. Manhattan Superman? And the answer to that is yes, but also no. You see, he's from Earth 4, and he's the only superhuman being on his world. So in that sense, yes, he's the Superman of his Earth, being the only superpowered being. Hence the nickname Quantum Superman. So although Quantum Superman is one of his nicknames because he's extremely powerful, he really has no relation to Superman or Clark Kent at all. In fact, his real name is Alan Adam, and his hero names or aliases are of course Quantum Superman, but more commonly Captain Atom. And that's because he's mainly an amalgamation of Captain Atom and of course, what you could tell just by looking at him, Dr. Manhattan. Which means he's easily one of the most powerful beings in the entire multiverse. Again, easily one of the most powerful beings, hands down. I mean, the dude is just an alternate version of Dr. Manhattan. And his origin is pretty similar as well. Alan got his powers when he was watching an experimental uranium engine that was being tested. But unfortunately, said engine exploded, and the explosion then turned him into a disembodied mind with no sense of time. With a new outlook on the world and just space and time in general, he made himself a better body and retained all his newly acquired quantum senses. Is this ringing a bell? Yeah. I thought so, but this is where things differ from the main Dr. Manhattan. You see, Alan was afraid of what he'd become and was not at all comfortable using his godlike powers. So he takes drugs to dampen the effects of his quantum senses. He also much rather the military tell him what to do than take it upon himself on how to use his powers. But now that you know his origin and backstory, I'm sure a bunch of you are curious on what his abilities are, even though you could assume he has all the abilities the main Dr. Manhattan has, and for the most part, you'd be correct. But since my job is quite literally to break things down in the world of comics for all of your faces, that's what we're gonna do. Now, this isn't a how powerful episode, so I'm not gonna list a bunch of instances displaying Quantum Superman's powers. We will kind of set the bar by giving this example. Quantum Superman once held Ultraman in his hand like an action figure while Ultraman was blasting his face with heat vision. And Quantum Superman was just looking at Ultraman like he's an idiot. In case you're not aware, Ultraman is just an evil version of Superman. Ultraman even had the balls to say, "You can't be stronger than me. No one is stronger than me." And Quantum Superman replies, "What do you know of things? I am the endgame of the idea that spawned the likes of you, Ultraman. I am beyond conflict." And again, he's saying this while holding Ultraman like a freaking action figure. Like literally. If that's not a mic drop moment, I don't know what is. Now, as I briefly talked about earlier, Captain Atom or Quantum Superman's main abilities are his quantum senses. Because of this, he's pretty much a god as he possesses no natural divisions in his perception of time. Meaning he sees the past, present, and future as a single entity, which also means he knows what's gonna happen before it happens. He sees the past, present, and future at the same time. What I'm saying is, he knows everything. Quantum Superman also possesses reality alteration, much like the main Dr. Manhattan. So you know how Dr. Manhattan created the New 52, making a new reality, changing everything in the DC universe, causing Barry to forget about the original Wally West, and changing Superman's history, and countless other characters, and all those things in the DC universe? Yeah, Quantum Superman could do that too. It's also said that he could alter reality at least on an 8th dimensional level. To put that in perspective, the imps in the DC universe, like Batmite and Mixia Spitlick, are 5th dimensional. And Mixia Spitlick once created and destroyed a fully functioning dimension just for a game he was playing. And Quantum Superman is at least 8th level dimensional. Yeah, just think about that for a minute. And because he is who he is, he could share any information he wants with anyone he wants. Put it this way, he's so powerful and aware of his surroundings, he could tap into the
Oh, it's rain. Thought something was tapping.
primal monitor or the Overmonitor.
I follow YouTube.
What is that, you ask? It's quite literally the canvas the real-world writers and artists use to create comics we read. Yeah, wrap your head around that. This dude is so insanely powerful and intelligent. He's aware he's in a comic and could literally tap into the blank canvas comics are made on. Case in point, we literally see him reading a DC comic book inside of a DC comic book while saying the story is linear,
like, bro,
but I could flip through the pages in any order and any direction. Forward in time to the conclusion. The characters remain unaware of my scrutiny, but their thoughts are transparent, weightless and little clouds. This is how a two-dimensional continuum looks to you, and then while looking at us, the reader, he responds to the other characters in the book saying, imagine how your 3D world appears to me. I could read your thought balloons. I know exactly what you're planning. Dude was straight up like, this is how I perceive 2D images. Imagine how I perceive your 3D world. I could read your thought bubbles. What I gather from this is he knows he's in a comic book. He literally said he could read other characters' thought balloons and then even looks to be staring at us, the reader, in this panel. For some reason, I'm uncomfortable. Impressed, but uncomfortable. Keep in mind everything I just said, and then also realize he also possesses quantum superposition, which is just a fancy term that means he can create countless copies of himself any size he chooses, big or small. And then each of them possess all the same exact powers he does, all at the same time. What I'm basically saying is, guys, he could do whatever the heck he wants to do. Like literally dissecting his dog Butch apart with his mind just so he could take a closer look at it. Very disturbing, yes, as he's ripping the dog apart to look at his insides, which killed him. But Alan just said, what if Butch is alive as well as dead?
Stuff like that.
Why not?
And then I'm gonna have
made another Butch. As I keep saying, the dude's just basically a guy. It's no wonder he was a key component in the Final Crisis event, being recruited by the Monitor, Zillow Vala, to fight against Mandrak, the Dark Monitor. My dude straight up joined minds with Superman and Ultraman to stomp out the win. Now, if you're wondering why Quantum Superman couldn't pull out the win all by himself, especially after knowing how powerful this dude is, well, as Doomsday Clock issue 12 taught us, the DC universe revolves around Superman, meaning Clark Kent will always be at the center of major wins like this. Quantum Superman even says towards the end of Final Crisis, I have few symmetries, enough energy in my hands to broadcast his pure essence to a receiver in a higher dimension. Only Superman can save us now. So love it or hate it, it will always come back to Superman. Those are just the facts. Now, some of you may be saying, but isn't Captain Atom a version of Superman?
Always come back
hence
to finding a way to have this nigga's balls.
Remember, like I said earlier, he's an alternate version of Dr. Manhattan, and he only has the nickname Quantum Superman for the reasons I mentioned earlier. In any case, that's Alan Atom, Captain Atom, or Quantum Superman, and whatever else you like calling him. He's a really interesting character that I hope we get to see more of in the future. But like always, it's your turn. Let us know what you guys think of this character in the comments down below.
That's something
and that's going to bring another episode of Rant to a close.
Yep.
But if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to check...
Yeah, shut up. Next. I'm not gonna lie, I low-key want to keep the superhero trend going, but just with this one, because this nigga literally just popped into my head. Literally, a nigga. He literally just popped into my head, a black Batman. Bro. He popped in, I forgot when did I hear about this. I was watching a video about Batman, I think a few days ago, or probably sometime last week, and his name was mentioned, and this was the first time I ever heard, wait, there was a black Batman. And me personally, I love black versions of characters, like a black Superman, you feel me, a black Batman. I love those versions of characters, and this was a black version of Batman, and I high-key just wanted to check him out. You know, quick little 2 videos. And then after that, I think we're just gonna like go into like a little bit of a chill session. Cause I can't watch Dante because I'm on YouTube as well, and we can't be playing music. I know that sucks, right? That's why Twitch will always be superior. Can't be playing music on here. It's so dumb. And I don't want my shit getting taken down. You feel me? But yeah, let's watch these. Yeah, let's watch these quick two.
What's up, my comic comrades? As promised, today we start covering DC's Future State. We're not going to be covering every single Future State title, but we're going to be covering a good amount of them, and or the ones we find most interesting. So expect at least one Future State themed episode a week from now until the beginning of March. Anyway, of course, we have to kick this off with the most anticipated book from the Future State line, The Next Batman, written by Oscar-winning screenwriter John Ridley. The series puts a brand new person under the cape and cowl in a future Gotham that kills anyone wearing a mask. But I'm about to get into all that, so let's see what this new Batman is all about. The comic opens up with an internal monologue from this brand new Batman, which explains to us how things work in this future or new Gotham. We learn that everyone in Gotham now lives in a police state with drones overhead, facial recognition, and cameras on every corner. The Magistrate, a private security force, patrols Gotham with shoot-on-sight orders for anybody wearing a mask. And Batman is #1 on their kill list. And as Batman is saying all of this to himself, he goes on to say, but still, this is Gotham City. The more things change, the more things stay the same. As we see Batman swooping down from above, ready to take out a criminal. We then see Batman make easy work of said criminal, and as Batman defeats him, the cops show up saying, hey, hands where I could see them. So Batman rips off the guy's mask trying to save his life because, again, they'll kill anyone wearing a mask. But the criminal just tells Batman they got what they deserved, every one of those women. At which point Batman tells the dude, I'm saving your life, even if it's not worth saving. Batman then uses a grappling hook to get away from the cops, and one of the cops then looks at the criminal that Batman left behind saying, hey, this guy, there's a bolo on him. He's the East Side rapist. Elsewhere, perched on top of a gargoyle, Batman says to himself, I was cutting it too close. I can't start mixing it up with the police. I don't know how the real Batman ever. He then stops himself and says, nah, check that. I am the real Batman. This is my city now, and I will protect it. As he starts swinging through the city. Now at this point, you guys may be...
Talk your shit, especially knowing that he black. Talk your shit. I am the real Batman. It's my city, and I'm gonna step up to fucking protect it, you feel me? Ain't nobody gonna come in my hood thinking that you feel me, that they could just put on a mask and just start, like, you feel me, essaying women. Fuck that. It ain't gonna happen in my hood.
Asking, who is this new Batman? Do we know who the new Batman is? And we do, but not because of this issue. When reading the entirety of this issue, it was very apparent that we weren't supposed to know exactly who this new Batman was. It actually leads us to believe it's Luke Fox, Lucius Fox's son, but in reality, it's not. And unfortunately, for some reason, DC decided to spoil who this new Batman was before we got a chance to find out, and I would assume issue 2. So since that's public information, as DC themselves decided to tell the world, I'm also gonna tell you guys. So spoilers if you don't wanna know who this new Batman is yet. Again, spoilers incoming. The new Batman is not Luke Fox, aka Batwing, but instead, Tim Fox, his screw-up brother. We actually see Tim Fox, or Jace as he likes to be called, briefly in James Tynion's Batman title, issue 101 to be exact. I personally think Jace is a better choice. Luke Fox would have been such an obvious pick, plus the fact that Jace isn't a Boy Scout and doesn't have everything together will make the fact that he's Batman more interesting. But what I'm most intrigued to see is how Jace Batman is going to interact with the dumbed-down, no longer rich, ground-level Bruce Wayne Batman from the future state Dark Detective title. Don't get me wrong, I love alternate versions of Batman, and other people have taken up the mantle, like Grayson was an awesome Batman. Terry McGinnis is my second favorite Batman because, let's face it, Batman Beyond is amazing. Jason Todd was really fun to see as Batman. Jace may even turn out to be a really cool Dark Knight. But the Batman, at least for me, will always be Bruce Wayne for a myriad of reasons, but also because without him, the mantle of Batman wouldn't even exist for anyone else to take. But I digress, as I always tend to do. Anyway, after Batman swings off in Gotham City, we are then taken to the Fox residence. We see Luke Fox come walking down the stairs saying morning to his mother. She then tells him, it was morning 4 hours ago, Luke. He then says, yeah, I know, I just had a late night. She then tells him, God, please don't be another Bruce Wayne. You need to represent. Which is clearly the writer trying to lead us to believe that he was out late as Batman. But we know that's not the case because DC spoiled this plot twist. It actually is kind of annoying. This would have been a really fun reveal. They would have led us to believe that Luke was Batman only to eventually tell us that no, it's Luke's brother instead. I don't know why DC likes to spoil things like this because they've done this before. For instance, they did the same thing with Batman and Catwoman's wedding. I wish they wouldn't, but alas, here we are. Anyway, as Luke continues to have a conversation with his mother, we find out she's been studying case law because she needs to find a way to make sure that this contract with the Peacekeepers can stand up to the ACLU challenge. Luke says if it can't stand up to the challenge, maybe the law's no good. She then tells him, why don't you go visit with your sister, then come tell me if you think the law is good or not. We then get some internal monologue from Batman saying that Mom blames what happened to Tam on the masks. The ones who are bad, the ones who think they're good. And every day, working to justify the Peacekeepers, Mom is just getting colder, but so is the rest of Gotham. We are then taken to the Little Santa Prisca neighborhood, where we learn that in this new or future Gotham, a Spanish gang has formed inspired by Bane called the Banelitos. They even wear lucha libre masks very similar to his.
I'm still fucking recording like a